Here at PEI, we are doing a series of short videos on the top 10 digital platform policy issues of 2020. These are the issues with the most coverage in 2020 on platformeconomyinsights.com. We're doing a 5-minute review on each, a look back, then a few thoughts on what we can expect in 2021. So this is 2020's issue number 8, Amazon's antitrust problems. Ironically, despite 4 years of President Trump venting at Amazon and its CEO, federal antitrust authorities never moved forward on any concrete complaints. Oddly enough, Amazon seems to have almost benefited from having so many questionable practices that regulators can't easily focus on them. Think back to the Big House Antitrust Subcommittee hearing this summer, where the CEOs of Google, Amazon, Facebook, and Apple were grilled over antitrust abuses. With Google, the focus was on search and advertising. With Facebook, digital surveillance and acquisitions, and we've seen cases with both. Apple's CEO was repeatedly hammered on App Store policies and fees, but Amazon was under fire for issues all over the map. The top issue was how Amazon uses data on third-party sellers to unfairly compete with them. But with Amazon, there was much, much more. AWS, labor concerns, taxes, acquisition abuses, gig workers, Fire TV, Twitch, it goes on and on. In a sense, they've been benefiting from having so many questionable policies and practices that it has kept the posse of regulators and legislators from honing in on one key strategic effort. And what is that issue? It's their logistics-based control over third-party sellers on their marketplace. If you go back to the video on that Big House hearing, Congresswoman Mary Scanlon hit on this issue about 5 hours into the marathon session. Yes, I'm serious, 5 hours. See, the thing to remember about Amazon is that unlike other digital marketplaces, it is dominant in a physical business, their massive e-commerce fulfillment center network. Amazon is not like Apple with their App Store or Google on search rankings. Amazon also controls physical stuff in a huge way. A recent logistics industry report estimated that Amazon's market share in e-commerce fulfillment services is 60%. That's bigger than AWS's 50% share in the public cloud market and Amazon's almost 40% share in e-commerce retail. The biggest Amazon antitrust news of 2020 was the decision by the European Competition Authority to move forward on 2 cases challenging Amazon. The EU is now 2 years into a case involving Amazon and the marketplace data and third-party sellers. They announced that case will proceed to the next phase. So that's big news. But the bigger news was the second case. Europe has opened an investigation of whether Amazon uses their buy box and other tools to preference products on their marketplace sold by sellers that purchase logistics services from Amazon's FBA logistics business. This tying and preferencing between their 2 dominant businesses could become their biggest vulnerability. If the incoming Biden antitrust regulators understand Amazon, they will pick up on this line of thinking from Europe. Finally, Amazon's massive logistics network is increasingly and appropriately separating them from all the other e-commerce marketplaces on the issue of product liability. Marketplaces do not have the same product liability duties as retailers when consumer products go wrong. A policy that makes sense because internet marketplaces don't ever handle or have an ability to inspect physical goods. They aren't like retailers. They don't hold the stuff. But Amazon, when products are stored in the FBA system, is just like a retailer. They do handle many of the goods sold on their site. When they technically own the goods or not, it doesn't really matter. They sort, store, pick, pack, and put them into the shipping hands. The courts are starting to realize that this matters. The California Court of Appeals ruled this summer in Bolger versus Amazon that the company could face product liability charges just like a traditional retailer when the product was handled in FBA. A federal court in the Southern District of New York very recently came to a very similar decision. This issue, product liability for e-commerce marketplaces is another really interesting one to watch in 2021. In particular, will Amazon be treated like a retailer? They should when they hold the products. Or will all marketplaces be lumped in with Amazon? A bad idea that doesn't make sense when those marketplaces don't hold the products. Next up, 2020's issue number 7, the Department of Justice antitrust case against Google.